Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 24th of July, comes to you from London. Dollar recovered a little bit yesterday, but just still short-term bearish below the cloud. Medium-term is still looking pretty bullish. And if we look at the euro, we see that finding support on the cloud this morning. So still bearish in the medium term, but short-term is bullish, but downside targets do still dominate. Against the yen, the dollar just pushed lower as well. Against sterling sitting at 131, just holding its gains against the dollar from yesterday. Looking at sterling against the euro, we see here slight recovery starting on that, but no upside targets on the short-term chart. Still, the downside dominates, so euro has the upper hand on sterling, really. Looking at sterling against Swiss franc, downside targets here as well. And against the Aussie dollar, we're seeing a little bit of a recovery there. Bitcoin is through the $8,000 mark this morning, so that's good news for Bitcoin. Looking strong. We've got targets to 8,300, upside targets 11% higher to 8,900, and we are just coming through the cloud on the medium-term chart, so that's looking pretty bullish. S&P 500 index hovering around this 2,800 level yesterday, and just really has been flat the last several days. So just holding on really. Nasdaq was down slightly yesterday, but still bullish above the cloud on all three time frames. And if we look at the Dow Jones index, just struggled as well. Very quiet markets generally in the US. And looking at the Russell 2000 index, barely changed on the day, still flat. US stocks just generally flat. The S&P future up very slightly this morning, and the Nasdaq E-mini down very, very slightly at 0.02%. So no way of telling which way the US market will open today at this stage. The FTSE is up very slightly this morning, and the 250 is up about 0.2%. The DAX also up about 0.4%, and the CAC 40 up about the same amount, 0.4%. So markets generally very, very quiet. Looking at Asia, Japan was up 0.4% overnight. Hang Seng recovering quite strongly at 1.4%, taking it back to bullish territory. And China continues its short-term recovery at 1.6%, but still looking worrying on that medium and long-term chart. Sensex continued to rise, up very slightly, 0.1% up, and the Aussie market was also up 0.6%, so looking strong there. Brent crude is down slightly this morning, but just holding on to its bullish territory. Medium-term chart just starting to fade. The failure to make a new high in July versus May is a little bit of worry for crude, and we could start to see a sell-off into the second half of the year off the back of the summer driving season. WTI is lower below the cloud, downside target there of 5% lower at $64. So we could see movement there. US nat gas not going anywhere, sitting at $2.70. So we're seeing the medium term there deteriorating as well. Gold just struggling around this 1220 area. Still just lagging line, just sitting in bullish territory, but the medium and long term charts are worrying for gold. Looking at the silver chart, actually looking a little bit better on the short term, just ticking higher. And US 10-year yields pushed higher yesterday, quite a bit higher, and we're now sitting at 2.95%. So back pushing for that 3% level. Apple shares, we look at US tech stocks, Apple shares were up on the day, so we see here, down 0.4%, and Amazon were also struggling on the day, just up 0.12%. Google actually reported stronger results after the close last night, so we should see an interesting opening today. They were down 0.2% just going into that. And Facebook still holding that 210 level, up 1/3%. Microsoft just pushing a little bit higher, just holding that 107, 108 level now. And Netflix, having had a bad week last week, started the week yesterday down a further 0.6%. So really struggling off the back of that fall last week. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.